Hi. So one of the benefits of my garden is that I get lots of tomatoes, but I can't eat them all in time. So what I'm going to do today is canned tomatoes. I'm just going to do simple diced tomatoes. So all I really need are some jars, canning equipment, salt, and lemon juice. I'm going to dice up the tomatoes like this and put them in jars. So I've got all my tomatoes right now soaking in the sink, getting clean. I'm bringing them over here to the dice station. I've already washed, parboiled, sterilized my jars. So I'm going to use the jar neck here, and I'm going to fill the jar right to the base and add my salt and lemon juice. And then what I'm going to do is just repeat that process until we have all the jars filled. So again, to the base of the jar, we're going to use 1 tablespoon lemon juice for every pint, 2 tablespoons for every quart. So we'll put that lemon juice in there. And then 1 teaspoon salt. I really love this Kirkland. We get their fine ground pepper too. So I'm going to kind of mix it in there with my little handy dandy canning tool here. This is only the second year I've done canning. I did can diced tomatoes last year and used them. I actually used them. So I didn't buy diced tomatoes. I used the ones I had. So we want to make sure that we wipe the lid, or wipe the rim. I'm going to do the first one and show you. So I'm going to repeat this process, and I'll check in when we've got all the jars filled, all the tomatoes diced, and they go into the bath. All right, so I guessed pretty good. I've got 5 of the small jars and 1 of the medium. I think this is I'm not even going to pretend to know the measurement. So the little ones and the medium, and then there's a larger one that I've used for spaghetti sauce and things like that. So I like to use I'm a big fan of Fiesta Ware, so I have my Fiesta Ware tomato knife, and I like to use these tomato knives because they work so easy when they're cutting. So this is my last jar here. I also, when I'm canning, I'm a little impatient, and so I like to kind of get the water going ahead of time. I have started to boil that and then turned it off because I wanted to get the jars in, but I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. We put in gas, and I love it. So we're going to use the gas stove. So let me squish this stuff down in here. Add my salt and lemon juice. And then what we're going to do is we're going to lift up the basket that's inside what's called the bath, this big giant pot, and boil them, and then keep them kind of a small rumbling boil for about 45 minutes. Then we're going to remove them, set them over here to cool, and we'll hear little pops as they seal. So let's get moving on that. Probably 2 jars in, I realized I should put the salt first because the lemon juice will go right over the salt. That is very typical of me. Figure it out almost towards the end, all the tricks and tips. Although when it does boil in there, it's mixing it up. All right, so everything's pretty good. I've read things that say that you don't have to re-sterilize your jars once you do that the first time. So I had done that last year. You know, why not be safe, right? Okay, so here's the jar lifter. This is fantastic. And the jars go in there. So I'm going to readjust the camera to be over by the jars, and we'll show you putting them in there. Okay, so I'm going to use the lifter here to get these little racks up and over. The good thing is I'm fairly close to the sink, so if I have to add some more water in there, I can certainly do that. I'm a little paranoid. It doesn't hurt to be safe. So this is really cool. It sits right in there, so I can go get the jars, put everything in there. I'm going to put these in here. The tricky is there's a little space where these jars can fall through the little wires. So I'm going to lower these in to the bath. Pretty good. I measured the water out pretty good too. So I've got the lid over here. So I'm going to put the lid on it. We're going to get it boiling, and then we're going to adjust the temperature in such a way that it will continue to boil for 45 minutes. And there we go. So a watched pot never boils, so we'll check in. All right, so it's been 45 minutes. We've kept it at a boil, and now we're going to take the jars out. We're going to lay them on the towel. That was loud. And let them cool. Just want to show you taking them out of the bath. Again, this handy dandy tray inside here is super helpful. Before I started canning, this seemed like a really hard thing to do. It had to be some Little House on the Prairie something or other to do it. But you know, the first year I did gardening, I wasted so much food because I didn't know what to do with it. And we'd put the tomatoes out and give some away, and we just couldn't use them quick enough. This year I'm growing the acorn squash, and so what I'll do is I'm going to look up how to can acorn squash, if that's even a thing, because I can cook it and do it probably similar to this, keep it in these jars and use it when ready. So these are going to cool for quite a while. Okay, so the tomatoes are all cooled, and how I like to store my jars is I remove the ring, so I can check the lid and it's secure. And I store it this way because then I know that nothing's getting in under the ring. There's no bacteria, that this is a tight seal. This is a jar of peach jam that I made October 2018, and we're about to use that, or I'm on keto, I can't, but Miranda's about to use it, and then she'll just put the ring on there when she uses it. So I'm gonna remove the rings. And check my seals, just gently. I don't want to pull it off, because that requires a whole throw it in the bath thing again. But all of these are good. As you see, the tomatoes kind of hunker down a little bit. But when you use these, they taste really fresh. And so I will probably always do jars of diced tomatoes because I did make spaghetti sauce, but the diced tomatoes kind of open up so I can do anything with them. So there we go. The rings get put away for the next round. And there we go. So thanks for watching. Canning tomatoes. We'll do some canning of the acorn squash as I mentioned. And so please subscribe. Thanks.